Still dropping frames because why the hell not? Okay, I think we're gonna go for it and see how far we can get. Yeah, it's looking kind of grim, but as long as you're willing to put up with it, I am willing to overlook the. Oh, hello, Jesse Quill and Eyes of Sin. Sorry, I wasn't reloaded on my screen. If you guys could give me some feedback in terms of the quality of the broadcast, because I have a feeling I'm going to be dropping a lot of frames. Oh yeah, I just got nailed there. Um, yeah, this is a tough call. So Jess, that project I was talking with you, I've now got about 8,500 entries out of 15,000. So I'm really reluctant to reset my computer. Anyways, you know what? Screw it. We'll do it live. And if memory serves, we have got an absolute nightmare of a terror mission coming up.
Commander, our satellite is prepped and standing by for launch. We are ready to deploy it on your orders.
Yep. Okay. So, I want the A team. I think in this case we're going to go heavy on assaults. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a different composition that I bring in. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's make those items available, please. Okay. Where's the laser shotgun? I want the laser shotgun. Did I only buy one laser shotgun? All right. Let's try that again. I guess that means that I have to bring another scout in. I don't really see myself doing this mission without upgraded weapons, so. How you doing, Jeff DeHaff? Good to see you again, as always. Yeah, I guess it's double supports then. I mean, I could try double snipe. I don't think double sniper is a good idea. So this will be one with a grenade. Oh, actually, I guess I said scope for the aggressors. So there's going to be a couple of challenges that I run into on this mission. One is the civilians die really quickly. The second problem is going to be that it's very hard to keep my team alive in this one. So I've got everybody kitted out about as well as I can. Again, I want to make sure there's as many lasers as possible on the squad just to improve the expected damage output. The speed at which we take stuff down is a totally different question. But honestly, I think it's going to be just a bunch of experimentation that we work with all this. Anyways,
we're going to be dropping you deep in the Nigerian interior for the next operation. The aliens are continuing their incursions into highly populated areas. We can't allow further civilian casualties to spread panic in the region.
Thank you, Jesse Quill. I thought probably out of everyone, you would appreciate it the most. God, these spikes are horrendous. If you guys can let me know when the stream becomes difficult to watch, and I will make an effort to find an alternative. But I'm actually getting very fed up with so either it's my ISP or it's Twitch. And I know Jess was running into some problems, so I'm going to guess that Twitch is not keeping up their end of the bargain. Logan, I hope you're doing well. How is everybody, actually? I know Eyes of Sin. I missed you last cast. Jesse Quill, I am always streaming XCOM for you. Jeff DeHeff, I am particularly happy that... Oh, wow. This is a totally different map from last time. Jeff, I'll say I've actually been really happy that you've been stopping by the cast lately. Twitch has been twitching, so to speak. Is that why you haven't been casting? Okay, so for my sniper, the ideal move is to advance as far as possible and keep them just sort of sat down. So this is potentially reckless, but I kind of want them behind some... Oh, wow! Bad luck. All right. Well, you know what? We can do some interesting things with this. So let's start with my... we'll start with my assault. Now, one nice thing here is I don't actually really need to worry so much about the chrysalids. Because they can't... I mean, they're either going to hit me from behind cover or they're not. So we'll set up with a run and gun. Now I just need to do that 3 more times with all the other guys that I have and we'll be good. No, so what I'm going to do up here, there's simply no chance that I'm going to be able to, like the smoke is not going to help these guys. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to set everybody up to provide as much cover fire as possible. Oh, actually what might have been an idea was for me to fire a rocket launcher in there because that guy's going to die anyway. It's too late now. So yeah, the whole idea here is going to be to set up as many overwatches as I can to basically counterattack if the chrysalids try any funny stuff. Just for the sake of the argument, obviously Shilong would have been in a different location, so I wouldn't have been able to fire a rocket where I wanted anyway. So following the same principle of saying that the chrysalids don't care about cover, I'm going to move as close as I can, set up an overwatch, and basically hope that the firestorm that they move into, if they try to take out my sniper, will wipe them out. Now the drawback here is that if I was the alien player, I would actually move in and try to annihilate as many of these... try to annihilate as many of these things as I... or as many of the Overwatch as I can. So we've already knocked down 2. Yeah, so now my sniper and my assault are wide open to these other 2 chrysalids. So if they could potentially die in one hit. Looks like at least one of them opted to take down the civilian. Now that's going to be a zombie I have to deal with later. 2 zombies I have to deal with later. But I'm going to have a great opportunity for a rocket launcher. That's funny, Jeff. I've never played Overwatch, incidentally. But Overwatch was something that was innovated in the original XCOM, actually. So this won't be able to kill the chrysalids, regrettably. But we're going to get bloody close. So the ideal scenario, of course, is if I can get somebody with a shot, with a grenade in there to do some damage. So let's see if one of my scouts is able to accomplish that. Yes, but it moves them a little close for comfort. But that's fine. I'm gonna live with it. And of course they have a smoke grenade, which is a bunch of bullshit. Okay, well, we'll move him in here. This is going to be a problem. So the question is... you know what? They have a proximity bonus, so that might help with the defense. This grenade's going to take out these three, so now I need to worry about the big metal disc of death on the roof, and the one full health chrysalid. Fortunately, my sniper should be able to help. Oh, no, they can't. Okay, well, I'll, again, set them up with an overwatch. I really want to be careful here about this, I want to really be careful about this, this thing waiting for me on the roof. So I'm actually going to cluster up all my guys. Now again, the silver disc is probably going to rain down death on these guys, regrettably, but I don't have a ton of better options.
As unprofessional as it sounds, the bite seems to have turned him into a zombie.
Okay, so fortunately it didn't attack. Holy shit, there's two of them? I don't know what to do about that. Well, I mean, we took down half its health, but I have a feeling this thing's gonna shoot down a bunch of my guys. Oh, actually, this looks like prime rocket fodder. Oh, that sneaky bastard. Okay, good. He didn't attack. That's what I was hoping for. So close combat specialist will get me a free attack on anything that comes too close. Okay. So again, we're losing a lot of civilians, but we do what we can. I don't think I need the headshot. Okay. So I have a few decisions to make. So grenade auto kills this thing, but we don't have anybody in particularly good spots. I also don't really have a way of taking this thing out in one turn, I don't think.
Heading out.
Ooh, that was poorly considered on my part. I've got a really bad habit of not paying attention with those. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get the majority of my team to focus on the cyber disc to the left, because that represents the biggest threat to my team right now. What I'm going to do here with my assault, I'm going to try and get up close and personal with the disc. Now the drawback here, this isn't going to be enough to take it out, and I don't have enough to do the double tap. But so who do I have left to? Okay, I got two guys for replies. So again, following this idea of moving close and trying to take things out where I can. Oh, you know what? This is gonna blow. Oh, shit. These things also explode when they die, so I think this is going to be multiple soldiers dead. Now, the smarter thing for me to do would be to take down that that thing in the library. The catch is it's going to damage 2 of my guys if I take it down now, so I'm actually going to head for this other disc. I'm hoping that the one on the right runs away. Got very lucky there. Holy shit, there's 3? And that thing can heal them. Jesus Christ. I don't like the look of that. Oh my god, okay. So here's one thing I like about my assault. So that neutralizes their overwatch. So the aim here is going to be to try to take down as many of these silver discs as I can in one move. So I've got my guys out of immediate danger. So with my assault, I use the pistol to... Oop, not that one. I use the pistol to take out the low health disc. That's why I avoided taking it out right away. So the drawback here is that Qilong is totally out of ammo. So I'm going to leave myself the option of firing a grenade at it. Actually, so the idea might be... So a grenade up here will take this one out. And that leaves me 2... Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is see what kind of damage I can do to this, to the one on the right. Best scenario is we're able to kill it with the 2 guys. It would have been smarter for me to use my heavy in this case originally, because they would have been able to do more... They would have been able to do, they would have been able to get the aim bonus. As it is, it's a 60% chance, so it's possible that this thing goes to pot. Fuck.
No rounds. I'll get him next time.
But this is a 100%, so we're okay. So the last step here is we take out a frag grenade. That's going to guarantee, this thing goes down, and I'm gonna throw it here. That'll knock out the windows, but it'll preserve the cover that my 1 health support is behind. So. So that healing unit is now neutralized. Ooh. I didn't realize that it could damage civilians. Okay. Again, best place for my snipers somewhere they can do damage on the enemies. Actually, you know what? I'll get them on the roof just so I can get some sight. Okay, so we got a couple civilians that we can save here. Qilong's got to reload.
Let's begin.
I think they're just out of protection range, but it'll at least get me some... It'll get me on, yeah. Okay, that's good news. So we haven't taken out all of the enemies, unfortunately, but this at least gives me a little bit of tempo to sort of like reload and sort of set everybody up for the next round. So I'll move up one. I don't really want to find anything right now because this is going to be a round dedicated to like reloading and stuff like that. But I do want to make some, I want to sort of advance into this area so I can save some civilians. I'm actually going to take a quick minute and save just to see how it goes. I'm fairly confident that we can get this on sort of like the first attempt. Similar idea here. I sort of want to run my guys up and then do a reload. It's a little tempting to move them closer into the building here, especially because there's this outside door, but you notice the majority of people are sort of on this higher level here, so I actually think my sniper is going to wind up doing most of the saving. Also, it looked like there was something that was doing damage sort of at the far end here. I think it might be another one of those little bots, but again, I'm not going to be able to take it out if I don't have ammo, so... Okay. So is the sniper able to... Yeah, so this isn't optimal placement for my sniper, but this is going to save 2 civilians in one move, so that's worth it. Want to put people behind cover where I can, so we'll get the heavy behind cover. Again, these aren't necessarily optimal placements. I forgot to give my support... healing. So for whatever reason, oh right, it's because they took out that drone. So here we'll reload. One of the major reasons why I'm spending so much, why I'm putting a lot of energy into saving the civilians, is there's sort of an insurance policy. So even if like the mission goes very poorly, I have a certain, I guess an insurance policy is the best way to put it. I sort of know that I'm going to be, I know that there's going to be sort of a lower bound in terms of what my penalties are, basically, in terms of like performance on the mission. Every time I leave civilians out, then the number of casualties can potentially increase, and as a result, I might lose, well, maybe not lose the mission, but like things will be worse than what they could have been. Now, nice thing here is because I didn't use up the run and gun in a previous setup, I'm going to be able to run and basically pop this thing in its ass. So it's kind of unnecessary to use the shotgun. It's probably the last enemy because other people haven't been dying. But basically what I'm looking for here is like a 100% hit, which I get.
All mission objectives completed.
So I have a feeling that most of you guys didn't get to see all of that because of dropped frames, but that went a lot better than I thought it was going to. If you only lose 4 civilians on something like that with a squad like this, that is a pretty respectable turnout. So apparently over 10% of my cast has been technical problems. Okay, Shilong's got another level. So Will to Survive, this one isn't an option, you have to take it. So reduces all normal damage taken by 2 if in cover and not flanked. Yeah, there is no impolite way for me to say even the crudest of phrases. Are we gonna do some competition in terms of what awful things you can get me to say in a nice voice? So Kitty wound up with a bit of a boo-boo. So we can do dense smoke. Smoke grenades have increased area of effect and further increase units' defense by 20%. That's potentially very good. And then smoke grenades now contain powerful stimulants that grant plus 20%, plus 20 will and 10% critical chance for all units in the cloud. So I can basically make my soldiers on drugs I can get them high, or I can go for dense smoke. I really like that defense by 20%. Crits are cool, but I need to start using smoke more, and I definitely need to play a better defensive game. So, all right, Boomer has now made it to Colonel. So immunity to critical hits or Killer Instinct activating Run and Gun now also grants a plus 50% critical damage for the rest of the turn. Obviously, I am going for this. It's okay, you've been learning modern colloquialism, and some of the folks from the TwitchCon group have been teaching you phrases like, "That's lit as fuck, fam," and such. Poutine, Jesse Quill. I was as surprised as you were. All right, so we've got more than one character. I do like, I mean, I kind of continue down this field medic route with all of my scouts, but in this case I will, I'm going to make the Frenchman the drug pusher. Indeed, Logan, it is lit. All right, 3 Cyberdisc Wrecks, 6 Chrysalid Corpse, 3 Drone Wrecks, 14 Illyriums, 28 Alien Alloys, 13 Weapon Fragments, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree. Personally, you prefer the word incandescent, but apparently it doesn't quite have that street cred bite. Well, I don't know. You can be, you know, a follower. You can use the lit as fuck words of the youth of today, or you can be a trendsetter. I feel like I know there was a word that I taught. So I taught Natalie a word. Oh yeah, upbraided. That was one that I taught Natalie, and or Nat. And I feel like I taught a word to you, Jess, recently. I'm trying to remember all the terms that I've taught people. I don't know. Anyways, I want to be a trendsetter. I'm trying to bring back, you know, terms like upbraided and I don't know.
Let's just hope we can keep the people in those cities calm. The last thing we need is outright chaos.
Well, Central, I think it's a little too late for that. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do something special today. So we are talking about all these massive badasses. All aces with me. I like, you know what? We need to bring back the term tarnation. Daily. It's high praise. I am going to take a minute here because I sent some stuff to Johnny Big Time. And I am going to call this System Chalk's Wall of Canadian martial badassery. Oh, hang on. I don't have Discord open. So I sent this to Johnny, but I think you guys need to hear this as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a quick minute out of XCOM. We're going to reflect on the fact that that was a really good mission. Definitely daily. Ooh. When you have a chance, Chalk, mind answering your question from earlier? I am so sorry, Logan. I did not see your question before. Oh, you had an economics question you'd like to clarify. It's been a while since you had to do dollar amounts in terms of a base year. To do this, do you divide or multiply by the CPI of that base year? You asked your professor, and he's the one of the two. He said it's one of the two and that you had to look it up. Could you... So is the idea here that you have... So like, let's say your base year is the year 2000. And... like you're wanting to say in like you're wanting to say that you have like year $2,000 and you want to know what the price in like 2007, let's say, like you want the 2007 price in $2,000. Is that the idea? While we're doing that, I'm going to bring up the chat. So while Logan answers the question, I'm going to share with you some stories. I'm going to try and bring... Yeah, this is going to be a little tricky to do. Okay. Oh, God. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to walk away for 1 second just so I can get a slightly better angle on this stuff. That unzipping sound you heard, Jesse Quill, was just me getting more comfortable. Snapchat users beware. My Twitch export to YouTube failed. Yeah, for instance, you have price data from 2000 and data from 2007. You want the 2007 data in terms of the year 2000's dollars or vice versa. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Before I give you guys the Hall of Canadian Martial Badassery, I'm not just going to help Logan with his question. I'm actually going to help all of chat with this question. So, you have a price index, Logan, and you've got a base year, and you're seeing certain price behaviors over time. So, for instance, we would normally expect everything working well for there to be inflation. So I know, like in Canada, you'll usually see about, I think 2% is sort of our target, and then I think they're allowed to go 1% sort of out of bounds. So that would mean that with everything working properly, you would see inflation between 1 to 3% in the Canadian economy in a given year. So this would, of course, imply that in the following period, if your base year, which we'll say is the year 2000, if your price level is at 100, so 2,000 constant dollars, basically, the next year, for a 1% increase, you would see that index go up to 101, or 2% increase, 102, and so on and so forth. So from here, it's actually just a matter, in some senses, your professor didn't even need to tell you to look it up so much as you just need to think a little bit about what are you trying to accomplish. Well, if I'm trying to make it so that modern day prices are equivalent to the one in the year 2000, if we run on this assumption that the index is monotonically increasing, which is obviously not the case because deflation can be a real thing. But if we just say we knew that prices increased, so I've got $2,007 and the index is going to be some number above 100, and I want to go to constant dollars, do you think it would make sense to take those $2,007 and multiply them by the number in 2007, or divide them by the number in 2007? And that's open to anyone, by the way. But just think a little bit about what you're trying to do, like why you're trying to make that a constant dollar, and what operation seems to make sense given what you know about the index. I'm also going to see if I can find you a convenient tool from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay, I've got a tool that's going to make your life a lot easier, but I want you to give me an answer to that question I asked you first, because I am never going to get the TA out of me. I realize the way that I asked that was very clunky as well, so if you want any clarification on what I'm asking you, feel free to. You thought it was dividing, but you wanted to clarify before going ahead and doing just what you thought was right. Well, this is, like, the reason I'm doing this, Logan, is I think you know the answer to this. And one of the things I always try to instill in anyone is it's one thing to go to an authority and get them to tell you how to do it, but that does always beg the question, well, how did the authority figure it out, right? It's not like I go down to the docks at 6 o'clock in the morning and there's like two guys who unload all the economics answers, you know. In this case, it's just an application of your reasoning. So the purpose of an index is to sort of say, I've got a base year. That base year is going to be 1,000, or sorry, is going to be 100. And as I move back in time, it's going to, you know, be however higher or lower prices were in periods before. And as I go forward in time, it's going to be more or less, you know, depending on what the inflation rate for a given year was. So the reasoning here would be that if you want dollars in the future and going back to what they were in the past, then you would want to divide them by whatever value was assigned to that year. So if price levels have increased by 7% between 2000 to 2007, you would want to make sure that you divided it by that 107. Well, actually, it wouldn't be 107 because if it's like 1% each year, that's going to compound. But like whatever, we'll say the index is at 107 in 2007. Then you would divide $2007 by 107 to account for that price increase, and what you'd be left with is a real comparison between 2000 and 2007. Likewise, if you wanted to say, I'm going to compare, you know, $2,000 to 2007's, well, what you would want to do there is you're trying to raise the 2000 prices, or, you know, deflate the 2000. Well, I mean, it's deflation anyway, but what you're trying to do is basically you're trying to drag 2000 to 2007's values. If it's inflation, then that's going to be multiplication. But of course, if you're multiplying by a number that's less than 100, you're going to get a value sort of, you know, that's consistent. So in this case, it's basically a question in terms of what direction you're going. The answer is both for yours because you gave it both ways. But if you want to save yourself the trouble, because I'm pretty sure the BLS reports whatever they think the appropriate base year is, use that tool. You can basically go by the month and year, and you'll be able to calculate the purchasing power for a dollar in any given year. I believe this tool goes back to before the Great Depression. So all right. So I don't want to spend too much more time away from XCOM, but I did promise you System Chalk's Hall of Canadian Badassery. So, a gentleman by the name of O'Kill Massey Learmonth from World War I. O'Kill Massey Learmonth from Quebec City led a heroic defense of the 2nd Battalion's front on the 18th of August, 1917. The young officer organized his company's defense against multiple enemy counterattacks and later, according to his citation, carried on a tremendous fight with the advancing army. Although under intense barrage fire and mortally wounded, he stood on the parapet of the trench, bombed the enemy continuously, and directed the defense in such a manner as to infuse a spirit of utmost resistance into his men. Learmonth died of his wounds the following day and was awarded the Victoria Cross posthumously. So the Victoria Cross, I believe, is the highest commendation that you can receive in the British Empire. Not enough? Well, let me tell you about Frederick Hobson. British-born Frederick Hobson came to Canada in 1904 and settled near Cambridge, Ontario. On the 18th of August, 1917, the fourth day of the battle, Sergeant Hobson was manning a Lewis machine gun after many of his comrades in the 20th Battalion had been killed by shellfire. As German forces counterattack, Hobson stood almost alone, driving the enemy back with concentrated fire. When the gun jammed, Hobson rushed headlong into battle, where he single-handedly shot, stabbed, and clubbed Germans until he was killed in close combat. His act brought time for Canadians to regroup, and the enemy attack was defeated. For his uncommon valor, he was awarded the Victoria Cross posthumously. Still not enough for you? Well, let me tell you the story of Max Bernays. In the face of flames and gunfire, Chief Petty Officer Max Bernays remained at the helm of the HMCS Assiniboine, helping to destroy U-210. Escorting a convoy in August of 1942, HMCS Assiniboine sighted U-210 in the fog. The submarine stayed on the surface and tried to escape using the fog and its powerful guns as cover. When German shells set the Assiniboine's wheelhouse on fire, Bernays ordered his 2 telegraphers to leave. Alone and wounded, he dispatched over 130 telegraph orders to the engine room and continued to steer the Assiniboine until depth charged and rammed the U-boat twice, ultimately sinking it. Bernays received the Conspicuous Gallantry Medal for his bravery. Still not enough, you say? Well, I guess I have one more story for you. This is the story of Private Terence Inlay Kay, wounded and taken prisoner, who stole this pistol. The image that I have is of a pistol. Stole a pistol, captured his German captors, and forced them to carry him back to Canadian lines. I love my country. Maybe I should start naming some of my soldiers after these guys. Oh, for God's sake. Exalt Operation Research Hack. We lost 7 days. Bad luck. Total time lost 7 days. Exalt Information Warfare has corrupted research data. But it does mean that we can do a covert action on India, which will give us more information as to where the Exalt base is. Who do we want to send? So we've got 2 assaults, 3 heavies, which I can't send. 2 snipers, 1 support. I'm a little tempted to send my sniper. And yeah, we'll give him a frag grenade.
Keep everyone out of engineering for a while. They're testing some potentially dangerous new equipment down there.
Yeah, so we have time before the operation's done. I think what we'll do is we'll wait for the operation to finish and then we'll launch the satellites. I have not played Death Road to Canada. Covert operative is ready for extraction. Warning, the operative will be lost if this mission is ignored. I'm going to take a quick minute here. I'm just going to save before the mission. I'll also save in the tactical menu. Out of curiosity, guys, of these great gallant stories, which one was your favorite? I like the part where the Canadians killed people. I always like the idea that Canada would be the last bastion of safety during a zombie outbreak. I'm not sure. Would it make sense? I mean, it's sparsely populated, so the further you would get away from the 49th parallel, the fewer zombies you would see. I don't know if there's anything about the cold that would keep the zombies from, like, wanting to go north.
We are confident that you will handle this matter with discretion.
But in this case, I actually think the lower population of Canada might actually be helpful. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use this as a bit of a training opportunity. So I'm going to take my sort of my lower skilled team members, and we're going to try and we're going to use basically the engagement with Exalt to we're going to use that as an opportunity to get some leveling done. Now I only have 1 sniper, so I think what we'll do here is just double up the heavies, do 1 sniper, and then double support like we've usually done. Also, I love this mission music. All right. As usual, we're just loading everybody up. This is going to be my equipment loadout for the next little while because I'm spending the time to load out my interceptors. One of the major reasons for that is just the fact that if I ignore them, what happens is eventually I start having to go up against strong alien ships, and there's nothing I can do about that. What that's going to do is that's going to start taking out my ability to sort of defend against either them taking out my satellites, or it's going to sort of give me a lower grade in terms of my overall XCOM performance. And the consequence for that is that I'm going to have less funding, which means that I'm not going to be able to afford all this cool stuff that I normally have. So in this case, I'm potentially putting my soldiers in a little more risk by keeping them in these outfits longer than I normally would want. But it comes at the bonus that I'm not going to have to worry about my my funding sources. So. See, it's actually the strings that I like in it, Jess. That theme.
Dropship has arrived.
We've detected an Exalt cell operating.
Oh my god.
Once Strike 1 is on the ground, we'll need to secure the area to allow our operative to acquire the necessary data.
I remember playing, I think this is one of the first maps I played multiplayer against Jess with. The covert operative has finished setting up the encoder and transmitter, but Exalt is inbound. Protect the intel assets by eliminating all Exalt forces in the AO. Mission objectives: prevent Exalt from hacking our encoder so as to stop them from learning the transmitter's location. If that fails, protect the data transmitter until Exalt forces are eliminated, and neutralize all enemy units. Tip: smoke protects both sides. When you deploy smoke grenades, be careful not to help the enemy as well as your own squad. I seem to remember you did quite well on this, but we had some audio problems. Like, I always kept hearing you double up, and was one of the most distracting things.
Our operative was in position to transmit the data they'd acquired when Exalt forces moved into their AO. The encoder is currently shielding our transmitter's position, but if Exalt manages to hack the encoder, they'll be able to locate the transmitter. If they hack both, any hope we had of recovering the data intact will be lost. We have a new objective.
So the nice thing here is this is a relatively small map. I also learned a pretty important lesson the last time I did this, which is the value of rushing the transmitters and just generally frustrating Exalt's ability to communicate. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to save at the start of the mission. Again, the idea is, if I can, to go from the start of the mission, even if I have to reload. But for expediency, I do occasionally cheat on that. And we'll follow our usual rules. So in this case, I'm going to go up behind cover. It's possible that we'll see some bad guys, but we don't, so... I'm curious where my agent is. Not a great spot for them to be in, to be honest.
That's affirmative.
I think I'm just going to set them up as an Overwatch over here. No point in putting them too far away from my team. Now, as usual with the sniper, I'm going to put them wherever I can to get a good shot at people. Now, the real shame here is they're best when they're on high ground. But the fact of the matter is I'm not going to be able to get near high ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dash them. This is sort of the ideal spot for me. Because what's going to happen with this is they're going to be behind heavy cover, and they're more or less going to be able to see everything that my allies can see. One other thing I might have wanted to consider with my my agent, I might have wanted to move them a little closer so I can get them to the transmitter next round, but I'll live with that, and what I'll do is I'll rush my team members up for... This will actually probably reveal something on the map, but I think I'm willing to risk this. The division that I have here, so obviously my ideal way of playing XCOM would be not to put my team in these kinds of risks. Oops, the game just tabbed out. But there's a trade-off, right? Because if I can get a positioning advantage, so I have a little bit of risk that I assume at the start, by moving aggressively, what that can potentially translate to... I am getting so frustrated with my computer. What this can potentially translate to is an advantage when like a positional advantage. So for instance, what I can do here, if I know I'm not going to move this scout at any point, I can set them up behind these cinder blocks, and they basically have a nice high ground attack against everyone. Now the drawback is that they have my med kit. So if I put them off to the side like that, they also potentially, they're potentially out of action. My ideal situation would be to put them up here, but the drawback is that if there's enemies that are in this higher level, what they can do is probably in one move they can sort of head down like this and get a flank. So I'm going to move them up by the stairs, which gives them sort of the cover from my allies, except of course that my allies aren't in Overwatch right now. But it's a fairly aggressive move forward, so that I can get them where I need them in a little while. The ideal scenario here will be to have a couple of guys up on the roof like this so that they can shoot down. I know this is where Exalt is going to go. And then I also want to have a couple of people protecting this area. Not my agent, because I want my agent to be moving forward to these. If I can get to these targets, then what I can do is I basically get a free turn to get a positional advantage on Exalt to reply. And there's 4 of them, so I should get, at the very least, I should get 4 turns where they have to sort of spend time reloading their weapons. So what the movement of this whole first turn is all about is getting set up for a fight, or getting set up for sort of like 2 fights between these two areas. Now I remember when I was doing this map with Jess, I had this problem too. So what I want to do is I want to put the guy behind the cinder blocks, but every single time I do that, it denies me the ability to... There's something about this spot and the way the map works. It does not like me moving there at all. And it doesn't seem to matter what angle. Okay, so I don't want to be on the base. I want to be the level above. Yeah, it doesn't want me to go there at all. See, I don't like making decisions based on the fact that the AI doesn't let me do something, but I just don't see how I'm going to be able to hit that mark. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move them up here. I'm keeping them in the back basically so that I can use them as sort of a relief agent if something happens at this spot. You may also wonder, so I decided where I was going to put my sniper. The reason I haven't moved them yet is I want to keep this column open for my other unit's movement. So for instance, I'm going to move my assault up. And then we're going to move my sniper behind heavy cover. All right, that was probably longer than that needed to be, but... So my guess is the majority of the agents are going to be somewhere up here. But what I'm going to do is I'm first going to move my covert agent just to see... Okay, so I couldn't quite get them to this transmitter. But I am going to get them behind this. This is okay cover. I would prefer if they weren't sort of being overlooked like this, but we haven't found any agents after us yet, so that's fairly good news. I'm going to move... So the fastest move I could make would be to go up here, but I'm going to go to this spot because it gives me cover. So there's 2 bits of information that I get by going up to this this area here. 1, I get the lay of the land, and then 2, I get the option of retreating or fighting based on this cover. Okay, so I'm okay there. Still doesn't allow me to go behind the blocks that I want. See, the worry that I have is that this person's going to be useless where they are when it comes to the Exalt agents. But if it doesn't let me move anywhere meaningful up here, I don't see how... Well, I mean, this is dumb that I have to do this, but I might as well just go behind whatever blocks I can. This is not a particularly strong position, but I don't have a lot of options with this heavy right now, so I'm going to set them up with an Overwatch here. The reason I'm not doing a double move for anyone this time around is because there could be an enemy that's behind any of these corners. So right now what I want to try and do is I want to sort of sensibly move my units where I can. If I get to reveal something, so much the better. But I don't want to do it at the expense of putting my guys into risk. So again, this level feels abandoned, and it makes me really, really worried. Okay, so we know they're up there.
Listen. Enemies in sight.
Atta girl. All right, this is going to be.
We have an Exalt unit attempting to hack the encoder. If we don't prevent them from gaining access, they're going to find the transmitter's coordinates.
It's going to be pretty tricky to deal with because there's so many of them, but I also have a couple of turns if it comes right down to it. So, here's what we're first going to do.
Copy that.
Exalt has a number of communications relays nearby. If our operative can get in close to one and use the encryption keys recovered with the enemy data, they should be able to temporarily disable Exalt's comm system.
Now, the great thing here is
It will take Exalt's people some time to get their communications back up and running.
Exalt is going to be reloading their weapons next turn, which means I don't need to worry about my people being out of cover. And I also know that I can daisy chain these, right? So because I get to move my covert operative up like this, nobody's going to be able to damage him because they're going to be too busy reloading their weapons. Next turn, he hacks this comm array and he gets a double move. He can go to this one and then he can go to this one. So basically, I don't need to worry about cover for the next couple of turns. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the we're basically going to take who's available. And what I want to do is I actually want to take down the ones with sort of the highest chance to hit. This is just because I'm maximizing expected damage. It's possible I can kill these guys too. Okay, so this guy doesn't have a grenade, unfortunately. That's a 39% chance, 68. That's a 100, but it's only 2 damage. So ideally, I'll just use a grenade to take those guys out. Bad luck. This would be a great time to do something like a run and gun. But again, I don't get to maximize my damage that way, so the grenade here should hopefully cover the 4 guys behind this, and it'll also wipe out their cover. It would have been smarter for me to wait to do this before I fired with my other weapons, because this is now denying them their cover. And my sniper's kind of useless right now, so I'm going to try and get them to... I want to get them to higher ground, but I also want them to be effective in the next round, so I'm actually just going to move them forward like this. I don't want to go all in on these guys yet, so I'm going to sit with this character behind. And so my last move is, can I get a rocket off? Yes, but not in a good spot. So,
On my way.
regrettably, they don't get to move, so we'll set up an Overwatch and see how it goes. A weak move all told, or sorry, like a weak round all told. We definitely did not get as many opportunities to fire as we wanted. But we should be in a good position to punish them for clustering up in this area. I'm kind of curious what happens if I throw a rocket into the...
We've got a wave of new signatures closing on strike 1.
That's going to be tough.
Hostiles inbound.
So again, we stick with the plan. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to move this guy up on this side.
Enemy communications are down. That should keep Exalt busy for a while.
Now this is a really tough decision to make because in one sense what I want to do is I want to do damage to this guy when I can. I also want to get as close as I can to this relay. I need to get at least one unit ahead to be able to take out their weapons again. So I'm going to see how the rest of this turn goes. I think I'm going to have to break my rule on moving this this unit because clearly I need some support on the left-hand side of the map. That does potentially open a vulnerability on my right-hand side. I don't like the fact that, you know, I made a commitment to a tactical choice and I'm abandoning it for basically no gain. But I'm a little limited in my options right now, so. And unfortunately, it looks like I need to obey the laws of physics. There doesn't seem to be a way to capture all of these enemies in one shot, so we'll see if the other heavy has a better... probably not. Well, it's something. What I really want to see, honestly, is what happens to the transmitter when I blow it up. Damage to a friendly object. So the game's telling me I don't want to do something like that. Balls. Okay, well, Assault Bro is going to do two things. So first of all, we're going to run and gun. One, this is going to be... this is kind of just to get in their face and also to block the hack. And then, of course, I also get sort of I get kind of shots of opportunity against these guys because I'm close to them. So what I'm going to just do here is a straight up scatter on the guy who's hard to hit. There was a probability I missed, but a very small one. Next up, so I do kind of want to deal with this guy on the upper level, but it's better for me to take out the excuse me, the targets that I can. So again, we're aggressively moving up to sort of see whatever guys we can get shots on. I think I can risk this. Lots of close ones, but nothing to seal the deal, unfortunately. So what I want to do here is basically see what my highest... For this one, I'm just going to go for the highest probability to hit. The rationale behind that, if you ever want to calculate expected damage, what you do is you basically take the... So it says up to 7 damage. So, I mean, you can work some distribution if you know kind of what the probabilities of a given hit are going to be. This is a pretty weak chance. You know, I'm going to take it anyway because I get an aim bonus. It also blows up his cover. All right, so what I'm going to do here, I do really need the extra turn. I'm not going to be able to wipe these guys. Well, actually, let's just think about it. So I've got one. I definitely take out one with my assault, probably one with my scout. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 7 people I can dedicate to this. Honestly, though, it doesn't make any sense. Like, that's going to do a maximum of 3 damage. So I might as well just go for the disruption. There's probably going to be more people who come in anyway, so This is why I wanted to get my assault in so close. Oh, for God's sake, man.
Damage. Cover the flanks. Taken care of.
If he has to reload, I'm going to be so upset.
Cover the flanks.
Okay, that's kind of convenient that he moved down like that, because that's going to put him in range of my my agent. Okay, so first of all, let's see what my... Okay, so I've got one more shot with my assault guy. Let's just figure out what we're doing here first. I think I'm going to get him to use his flashlight on him. I want the flanking bonus from the heavy, so we're going to dedicate him to these two guys. This probably won't be a kill, but yeah. We can potentially use a grenade to finish that off. I also get the option of the covert agent, of course. My sniper has a few different options, but let's see what we can... Like, I want to... What I usually do whenever I'm making decisions like this, I don't just randomly pick the order of the agents. So I want an agent like this to move fairly early on because they have the most limited options. So what I want to do is I want to sort of dedicate them to maybe either the low-hanging fruit, which means I can free up my sniper to attack somebody, or I want them, if they have the potential of getting like a guaranteed kill, I want them to take that piece off the board so I can focus on something more important. So for instance, I've got two 50% chances to hit. This guy only needs one hit from a pistol though, so in this case I get the most potential out of firing at him. I also have a dedicated unit on the roof to be able to take them out. So first things first, we take advantage of
The enemy communications network.
communications.
Some time for them to get it running again.
Now, again, what would I normally want to do? I'd want to take this guy out with my smaller flashlight. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to save them. So at the very end of the turn, if everybody's dead, then I can maybe... Or, sorry, if there's only one person who isn't dead, maybe I can afford to use this character and sort of shoot at the Exalt agent. If I've got more than one person alive... what I might want to do is run them ahead so I can take out the transmitter one more time. So before we do anything though, I need to get my guys up and see what opportunities there are there. Again, an entire world of possibility has opened up to me simply because I know I don't need to worry about cover. So I'm able to go out into the open and take advantage of sort of tactical opportunities that wouldn't normally be there for me. What do I want to do with my assault? It looks like we only have two more guys to worry about, so I can safely get out of the... the capture zone. Of course, the other thing that's nice about this is I get to be beside him. Enjoy your breakfast, sir. Actually, I'm really glad that he gets to reload, so if this Joker decides to go down the ladder... I will have a surprise for him, and 82% chance to hit, but I only need the one damage. So, all right, let me catch. Oh, interesting. So it seems like there's more Exalt waiting for us somewhere, which means that I'm going to move my guy up to the transmitter.
Exalt reinforcements are in the area, Commander.
And Eyes of Sin says, I've affectionately named the tea that you're drinking Grandpa Bob's coat candy tea, as it tastes like candy that your grandfather would always somehow magically produce from somewhere inside one of his interior coat pockets. I don't know why this game made you crave this tea, but it just did. I am glad to hear that it has brought back fond memories. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep somebody on the roof. This would be the best spot for my sniper, but we don't always get to pick the... we don't always get to pick what we want, so I can take down the sniper with a 100% chance to hit. You know what? I'm gonna wait and see what my other options are because I know I'm gonna have some people that I need to reload with. What I could potentially do as well. Certainly, so rockets have a funny way of causing difficulty. So I'm going to operate on the hypothesis that this is the last batch of reinforcements. And this poor sucker is going to find out the extent of XCOM technology. Oh, I thought that would be enough to kill him. Oops. Actually. Sorry, for some reason I thought that would be environmental damage. This is kind of crappy of me to do, but I think I want to reload in that case. This is a little bit harder to decide because I do need to reload with this character, but I'm gonna go for the quick finish if I can. Yeah, I don't know. I always associated, you know, crazy ass laser beam to the face. I always kind of thought that was a, or sorry, a rocket to the face. I always thought that was kind of an end game sort of move. I didn't think that there was a lot of options after you took one of those things to the face. Okay, so I've got a shotgunner who can take out the sniper here. So a lot of this really hangs on what the combination of the sniper and this support can do to this guy. It's unlikely that this support is going to have enough to take this guy down, but we'll see. I also have no idea why they count as being behind cover. Okay, good to know. It's possible as long as my sniper is able to make the shot, they should be able to finish this guy. Oh, it's 100% chance, so this guy's toast. So, enjoy your breakfast, sir. And apparently more reinforcements are on their way. So I can potentially use this to reload, but I have a feeling they're going to wind up at the other encoder. So I am going to set my agent up for another communication disruption. Yeah, I think we're just gonna do full Overwatch, except for the people who need to reload. I don't really want to dash.
On my way.
So generally, I'm not happy with having everybody so far on the left. This is mostly just because I don't want them to. Like, I don't want them to have to spend too much effort to get to this side of the map if something comes up. Especially because I only have 2 turns before they disable the encoder. So, I am going to keep this person on the upper edge. Again, I sort of get 1 free turn on this sort of stuff. And my assault is pretty good at movement, so I'm going to get them a little bit closer to the middle of the map as well. And I might as well do a reload because they're not very good at Overwatch stuff. This is a harder one to decide. I am going to set them up on an Overwatch just because if somebody drops in one of these positions, it's nice to get the free hit. But I'm probably going to need to... use them to... I'm probably going to need to reload when I... Oh, okay. It's a nice little welcome. Oh wow, there's a lot more guys than I thought there would be. Okay, well there's a systematic way of handling this. So the first thing we're going to do is force them to
Exalt's people some time to get their communications back up and running.
So this is going to force them to do their reloads. The first two people who I want firing on them should be my heavies, because they're going to confer an aim bonus. But one thing I do want to sort out is what's the best use of my assault. Right now, I'm not able to use a double move to get... Actually, I could use them to get up onto this higher level, which might be an idea. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for whatever opportunities I have on... I think the smartest choice is actually to go for this guy here just for the aim bonus. So again, I'm less worried about my heavies being able to make the shot so much as them being able to increase the expected damage for my other guys. Possible exception being the sniper over here. Yeah, this guy's already taken a lot of damage. So this one makes sense because I might be able to take a piece off the board. Which we do. Yeah, I quite like this level. I think it's something that came in Enemy Within. This one I figure probably getting up close and personal is the best approach. Ooh, that didn't do nearly enough damage. Next thing you know, you'll see two shady but lovable fellas chasing haphazardly after a baby wandering on a steel beam somewhere. Slapstick comedy abounds. I have the feeling that you've seen this movie before. Okay. I think I need to make some decisions. So for my sniper, both of them are weak, so it doesn't make sense to blow the headshot. I think I'm going to go for... Actually, this one's at full health, so I am going to do the headshot on the other sniper. I always love it when it changes the camera angle. I always know it's going to tell me good news. So the real question here, I can dedicate an assault to this guy. Actually, this is really the only logical target for my assault to go after. So we're going to set up a run and gun here.
Yes, sir.
And it's effectively the last round, so... Alright, so we've got two 89% chances to hit. They're both heavy, so they're effectively the same. They're effectively the same shot. Who else do I have? Yeah, so it's just these two. So this is the last shot for this character. I'll just go for the closer one. And I don't think my agent's going to be able to do anything about this, but... Oh, yep, they can. Every little bit helps. And it was a very little bit. So they're going to run away and they're going to reload. That's about all they can do. Oh, they're not even reloading. They're hacking. So this really comes down to a question of who do I want to level up. But in this case... Breakfast, sir. Do you enjoy it?
Done it, Commander. Exalt's troops are down and we've secured the transmitter. Well done.
Sorry, that's totally Johnny's line. I shouldn't be taking that from him, but I just love it so much. Alright, so that was... I did have to do one reload because of my stupidity with the rocket, but I don't think that would have moved the needle that much, so... we're doing pretty well in XCOM today.
Looks like they're really taking care of business down there, and without so much as a scratch.
So I've got drugs and I've got dense smoke. I think I'm gonna prioritize dense smoke. And for arcade, I can make them a grenadier, or I can expand the rocket attack. I generally like to expand the rocket attacks, so it makes it a little harder to do the it makes it harder to do my rocket surgery, but I don't know, I generally like a larger area of effect on those. So we got 150 credits, panic reduced by 1 in India, and we also got a level for Ghost, which was the reason I sent him. So we've got Executioner, which is a plus 10 aim against targets with less than 50% health, or Opportunist eliminates the aim penalty on reaction shots and allows reaction shots to cause critical hits. So basically, this is one of the better ones for snipers because you generally keep them sort of standing still anyway. You can't like move them and fire. So I always think Opportunist is the better of the two. I mean, a plus 10 aim is nothing to sneeze at because let's face it, the aim for XCOM agents leaves something to be desired. But the Rouge Light Girl, how are you doing? Thank you very much for the host. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely prefer the one that's consistent with the way that I play snipers. And snipers, I just sort of sit them down and let them do what they want. Okay, from Red Shroud, we got Exalt Intelligence, 5 Exalt Assault Rifles, 4 Exalt Sniper Rifles, 5 Exalt LMGs, and 5 Exalt Rocket Launchers.
Decryption completed. Recalculating possible Exalt facility location.
I should, in theory, be able to just sell those Exalt weapons. I don't think I really need anything out of them. But as far as covert operations are concerned, so it's east of the Atlantic Ocean, it's not in Australia, and it is not in an English-speaking country. So apparently that would leave Egypt, South Africa, Nigeria, Russia, France, Germany, China, and Japan, and India. Well, that narrows it down, doesn't it? I suppose I can ask myself the question, do I want to... do I want to pay for the intel scans? I think the first thing I want to do is build some facilities. So the satellite nexus is coming online. Oh yeah, I didn't save at the... So council reports in 3 days. I kind of need to make a decision as far as these satellites, so let's get that done really quick. So here's my reasoning. I need to go over Argentina, otherwise I lose it. So we'll launch it there.
Satellite launched.
Next up, if I want the We Have Ways bonus, I launch over Brazil.
Satellite launched.
So first thing I'm going to do here is go to my hangar. We'll order 1 interceptor for South America. I want you to have a laser cannon. I want you to build a laser cannon. Yep, I'm okay with that. Okay, so basically what this has given me, the We Have Ways bonus means that all of my alien interrogations are instantaneous, which means that there's a ton of research which I'd previously missed out on, which I'm now going to be able to get for free. You're okay, you need to get this someday. Look, you're on the map. But yeah. This is a great game, Rouge Light Girl. If you've not played it, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorites.
What's going on down there? Check with maintenance.
So the remaining question here, there's expert knowledge and there's future combat. We're going to get both. So there's 2 priorities which I have. 1 is money, and 2, I want to reduce panic. So I think probably the smartest thing for me to do, there's 1 150 and there's 1 100 in the UK. And more importantly, the only other place that would be left would be France, which has a low panic. So if I can concentrate as much attention in Asia to reduce that panic, I think that makes the most sense for my strategy. So I have basically 2 more that I can deploy until I have my satellite nexus up. So in this case, I'll use it on Russia and the United Kingdom. And I kind of need to hope that panic doesn't increase in any of these other countries, but it's only 3 more days left. So the other thing that this is going to do is it's going to maximize my revenues. So
Satellite uplink facilities at maximum capacity. Additional uplink.
We're not picking up anything new on radar. Haven't gotten any outside reports either.
So notice here, right, what I've done is that if there's an alien, if there's abductions, even if there's one in France, my situation in Europe is now so good that I can dedicate my people to Asia, at least until I get my satellite nexus online. And looks like I'm getting 1,200 credits a month, which is not bad at all. Okay, now the big question, I don't believe I'm building any more satellites. Do I have them though? I do have 4 more, so we're good.
Capacity. Additional uplink required.
Okay, now that I've committed to this decision, I'm going to save it. Obviously, I can go back to the previous geoscape if it comes down to it.
Incoming transmission.
We are extremely impressed with the progress of the XCOM project thus far, Commander. Your recent results were beyond our expectations, and that is not a statement this council makes lightly.
So from the beginning of last cast, you'll remember that we were actually in danger of losing 2 in Africa, and then over the course of the playthrough, we potentially lost things in South America and Europe as well. And just by waiting until the council report came up, we were able to diffuse all of those problems and end, I guess, our 3rd month with earning 1,500 in terms of credits. And the nice thing is that my maintenance costs are very low because I started with my all-in. So the cost of building these satellites, the cost of maintaining my interceptors and things like that, all of those have been low throughout the playthrough. So I'm able to I'm basically maximizing my revenues from my satellite coverage, and I'm minimizing my costs. And what this does is it gives me a ton of options when it comes to the next comes to the next few steps. So.
The new engineers arrived this morning, Commander. We're always glad to have more help down here.
I don't like being too profligate with my spending, but I think I am going to build another scatter laser because this basically gives me the option of 2 of everything. We've got enough carapace armor for everybody, and we don't need any more satellites and laser cannons, so I am comfortable with my loadouts right now. I actually don't think I need 3 scatter lasers, so for some reason I made a mistake there, but they're not too expensive. So now as far as facilities, again, we're just going to expand things out. Really, at this point, the only other things that I need are like, training facilities, more laboratories and workshops. There's definitely more stuff that we can build after I research, so I'm okay with sort of leaving these things open. But I do sort of want to leave myself the options in terms of just being able to build things. So I might build 1 more workshop down here just because it's kind of nice to have. Obviously, if we get strapped for space, what I might do is I might kill a satellite uplink somewhere and replace it with a satellite nexus that'll allow me to consolidate a little bit. But I'm hesitant to do something like that just because obviously, that's sort of, there's sunk costs, but I don't want to needlessly remove particular advantages like adjacency bonuses and stuff like that. So anyways, okay, new interceptors up, so I want to make sure this thing's equipped with its lasers. Now the drawback, of course, right now is the laser cannon does more damage, but they also have to get in closer, and they're sort of my most fragile ships. So if they come up against something nasty, I potentially get in trouble. But we'll see how it goes.
Now available over the United Kingdom.
Okay, new fighter craft research project complete. Assign new research. After an exhaustive reverse engineering effort by the research team, we now believe it should be possible to mirror the functionality exhibited by the aliens' advanced flight and navigational computers. These systems provide the pilot with a depth of information well beyond our current avionics package, and will certainly bring us closer to matching the alien ships in combat. Perhaps more importantly, we've successfully integrated our first prototype of the gravity wave drive we modeled after the alien propulsion systems. With this mechanism in place, we can expect a minimum of 2-fold increase in the Firestorm's maximum thrust output. Reminds me when never mind. When compared to our traditional pulse engine equipped interceptors. Assuming Dr. Shen and his team are able to successfully complete the fabrication process, our ship should be every bit as fast and as deadly as the aliens' own craft. All right. By the way, Jess, Sin, are you both still here? I feel like I need to do some shout outs. Firestorm. The Firestorm is our highly advanced combat aircraft incorporating numerous advances gained from studying the technology found in the alien ships. Power and navigational systems in particular were adapted directly from alien designs. Use the build buy item option in engineering to manufacture this item. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to do whatever interrogations. Oh, you know what? I can't do interrogations until I do xenobiology, so we'll start with that.
Your efforts to support the research team, Commander. I've already put the new recruits to work in the lab.
How many continents? I think I'm operating on all, so
Facilities at maximum capacity.
we need
Additional uplink required.
1, 2, so. Okay. So basically I want 10 of these things. Can I afford 10? Not enough hangar bays. Transfer or dismiss aircraft to make room. It's going to take 14 days. So it's going to take us a while to build up our fleet. But I think we're going to be able to work some magic, I think. So massing in action fully and fully. Well, I just want to take a second and shout out everybody for hosting and such. Okay. Oh my God, that's a lot of money that we just lost. Exalt Operation Sabotage. Exalt Sabotage has drained 530 credits from our cash reserves. The Exalt cell is exposed for now, but will go into hiding soon. Hello, King Hubris. So we can attempt to raid on Exalt HQ, but we don't necessarily know which country the HQ is in. So we will do a covert operation. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use...
Operative deployed to disrupt
Oh, shit.
cell in South Africa.
I didn't want to do that. But yeah, I want to get my shoutouts out of the way. So obviously Jesse Quill is a very dear and very valued member. Oh my God, it wasn't before the council report. I did at least... Yeah, it looks like everything's the way it needs to be, so...
Incoming transmission.
We are extremely impressed with the progress of the XCOM project thus far, Commander. Your recent results were beyond our expectations, and that is not a statement this council makes lightly.
I'm going to be a jerk, and I'm going to do
Touch, Commander.
an intel... Oh, it's a worldwide one.
Intel scan complete. Positive ID on Exalt cell locations.
So this saves me the 530. So Jess is obviously a very valued and very dear friend of the cast's. One of the things that has kept me doing a lot of XCOM lately has been how much she enjoys watching me play this.
Deployed to disrupt Exalt cell in South Africa.
But more importantly, it's actually also the fact that she has... she's generally encouraged me to play games where I can...
Bridge now available over the United Kingdom.
to play games where I'm able to sort of explain my reasoning.
I appreciate your efforts to support the research team, Commander. I've already put the new recruits to work in the lab.
I'm slightly choked. I can only build 2 of these things. But yeah, it was really interesting because I didn't quite appreciate how much it meant to her when I played this game. And I certainly enjoy it, but I enjoy playing it privately. I also haven't gotten as, you know what, I'm just going to be completely reckless with how I spend my money. I'm just going to max out everything. And because I really don't want to have to go through all of that again. Yeah, I don't know. It's Jess has always been very good at giving me this kind of feedback, giving me the sort of things that I don't know. I like to think make the cast better. Obviously, that's sometimes not for me to say. Obviously, you guys know better what makes the cast work for you. But Jess has always been there to give me, good advice and try and remind me that I am not as wretched as I sometimes think I do. I was also delighted to know that she was broadcasting on the IRL.
You're telling me that we should risk the lives of our troops so we can take one of these things alive?
Yes. Without a live specimen, I'm afraid we've reached the pinnacle of what my team is able to accomplish.
And how do you suggest we do this, Doctor?
The autopsy I've just completed confirms that the alien's physiology is quite similar to our own. A highly concentrated electrical current delivered at close range should cause
Close range? And what happens if it doesn't work? Do you really think this is worth the risk?
I do. We do not know our enemy. How can we hope to stop something that we do not understand? If we can capture one of these creatures alive, we may be able to communicate with it.
And interrogate it. Find out what they want. Where they're operating from.
Yes. That possibility outweighs all risks, in my opinion. I can construct a safe enough facility to house our captive, but I do not know how we could possibly communicate with it.
Not to worry. I will see to that.
All right. I'll speak to the commander.
Satellite coverage now available over Argentina.
So, she's on the IRL channel, which inevitably attracts trolls. I was a little annoyed my internet connection was getting hammered over the course of that broadcast. She handles the trolls quite well and did a bit of Dead by Daylight, which was a reminder to me that even if she's playing a game I don't particularly enjoy, she's still easily some of my favorite entertainment. So I know you guys are probably sick of me shouting out Jess this way, but she really is a very dear friend. I think she's a very unique and a very talented entertainer. I think she has some very clear ideas about why her cast is interesting and why people keep coming back. She definitely has a level of patience and I think an ability to connect with people that I somewhat envy. And all of that is on display on the cast. So, and of course, it never hurts that she always says nice things about me. So, she's actually also the reason why I'm blogging a little bit more, because that, I don't know, I'm very needy. I tend to need some reassurance or some encouragement to keep doing that sort of stuff. Okay, new objective: capture a live alien. Construct the alien containment facility, research the arc thrower, build an arc thrower, capture a live alien, interrogate the captive alien. Research report. We've managed to successfully map the alien specimen's entire genome, although I wasn't exactly sure it would be possible using our existing DNA sequencing techniques. However, our successes led to the startling realization that this creature's genetic structure is quite similar to our own. This discovery has piqued the interest of the research team, as it only raises more questions as to the origin of this species. Having examined several of the alien corpses, we've also observed a trend. Key components from the alien's genetic structure are mirrored perfectly across each of the specimens. Although it is presumptive at this point to draw conclusions as to how this is possible, I believe it is only logical to assume the alien is the product of aggressive genetic engineering, well beyond anything conceived of on Earth. If the aliens are truly capable of this sort of manipulation at the cellular level, I fear we may have only scratched the surface of their technological advances over us. In any case, further research is imperative, and while we've obviously made a number of discoveries working with the alien corpses, I feel we may need to acquire a living specimen if we truly hope to find the answers to these questions. Incidentally, guys, the original setup for the first XCOM was that Dr. Shen and Dr. Valen were married. So of course, Rymos G-Bang? I don't know. But obviously that wasn't their intention in their comment, but it's a convenient time to point out that was the original way that Shen and Valen were written. I'm not quite sure what decision moved it. I'm not quite sure what the decision was, why they didn't want the two characters to be married anymore, but they definitely kept some of the like the married couple banter between the two, which I think is pretty good. So. New facility available, alien containment. This facility will provide a secure environment to house the alien captives, allowing you to interrogate them in the labs. Use the build facilities option in engineering to construct this facility. Okay, so many choices. First thing I want to do is get all my autopsies out of the way. Of course, that's why we put the two satellites in South America, other than, of course, the fact that we were going to lose one of them anyway. So these are all instant. Our initial scans of small humanoid aliens recovered so far have revealed something quite remarkable. We're detecting components of non-biological matter embedded within their internal structure. Could these be implants of some kind?
We've made a number of interesting discoveries based on the autopsy results of the alien specimen you brought back. The research team is now referring to this particular variation as a sectoid, based on the unusual structure of its internal organs, which we believe to be the product of genetic manipulation. As we've seen in the field, this species also seems to harbor some sort of telepathic ability.
We found no discernible genetic variance between any of the small humanoid aliens that have been examined thus far. They are perfect genetic copies, each and every one of them. The subject's brain is quite sizable with respect to its body. Sounds like somebody I know. And appears to have been augmented even further with cybernetic implants of some kind. Considering the fragile nature of this creature's physical form, it is safe to assume that these implants were intended to somehow improve their combat effectiveness of the species. Dr. Shen and the engineering team have already developed several theories as to how we might be able to adapt these implants for our own use. Additional tactical information may be available in the field when viewing hostile targets in the unit analysis view. Dr. Valen's personal note: cloning, genetic manipulation, biomedical implants. The implication of this technology and the aliens' motives are not reassuring. Uplink targeting is available for manufacture. So activate this module during interception to provide an immediate temporary boost to our unit's accuracy. The module will burn out after one use. Its technology is based on sectoid implants and allow us to send a data pulse through our satellite network. Use the build by option in engineering to manufacture the item. So this is kind of an interesting idea. So the principle behind this, so if you think about the way that the flight combat works in this, you just kind of sit and watch it, right? Like you get to hit the abort button every once in a while. But the idea here is the trade-off is that like the times that you miss, the way you can sort of think of that is just potential damage to your aircraft, right? So if the probability of hit, or basically the aim chance or whatever, is too low, then what you're doing is you're getting an extended firefight. And generally, if it's a strong ship, then you know that your craft is going to be destroyed. So if you maximize their sort of chance to hit, then that's going to be less time that they're potentially taking damage, and as a result, they get the down faster. Of course, it is also timed as well. So there is a little bit more to that flight combat than there seems to be at the beginning, but I'll be honest, I think that's one of the weaker features of XCOM. I think there's a reason why they removed it from number 2. Okay, Flitter Autopsy. Torturous mass of flesh and machinery. The mere existence of this creature implies a cruelty that is difficult to comprehend.
Although I'm sure you can make the connection yourself, we've designated this particular specimen as a floater. The research team is continuing in its efforts to determine how the aliens prevented the organic tissue from rejecting the mechanical components, as they seem to work in perfect harmony with one another.
As frightening and vicious as the species is on the battlefield, it is hard not to feel some sympathy for them on the dissection table. The specimen has been subjected to extensive biomedical modifications, some of which were undoubtedly quite painful and intrusive. The combination of living tissue and mechanical components gives this creature a look of a cruel, half-finished experiment. Most of the subject's internal organs have been replaced with its mechanical life support systems that mimics their original functionality. A rather conventional propulsion system has been grafted onto the subject's torso. Although the power cells supplying the necessary thrust and are extremely advanced by our own standards, I have removed a number of neural implants from the subject that appear to aid in the evasion of incoming projectile fire. The engineering team has already suggested several ways in which this technology might benefit our soldiers. You may find additional information about the combat capabilities of this species by targeting one in the field using the unit analysis view. I'll show you what they mean by this when we get into another combat. That might be the last one that I do of the night. Defensive matrix. There's one thing I forgot to say about the sectoid autopsy, but it'll come up when I bring this up. So, defense matrix dodge. Activate this module during interception to provide an immediate temporary boost to our unit's evasive ability. The matrix will burn out after one use. Floater adaptive reflex technology was surprisingly compatible with our satellite systems, allowing us to predict enemy firing solutions. So this is actually the weaker of the two when it comes to the aim and the defense. Because if you think about it, right, a defense matrix dodge is basically playing not to lose. This gives you more time with which you can get those hits, but it is a temporary, like, the encounter is a short one. So unless you think that the alien craft is guaranteed to do a certain amount of damage to your aircraft, these make less sense to build overall. In this case, it really is the definition, offense is the best form of defense. One thing that I will say, though, is that obviously my upgrade path was a little odd, and so it's possible that you'll be going up against some stronger ships, and you won't have done any research into other technologies such as interceptors or weaponry, and so this is a way that you can get a little bit more life out of your default interceptors. One of the big things that this does, though, is when you think about it, like once you've used the alien corpses for the autopsy, it doesn't seem like there's much use for them afterwards. And so what the game has done is they've created a number of things that will upgrade your units. Basically, you need to hang on to some of those to be able to build some of these things. Now, they give you a steady supply because as you continue to win in the tactical missions, you gain more resources to use. But basically, these things are the reason why once you do an autopsy, you don't just sell all the corpses that you have. Thin Man Autopsy. These aliens were clearly intended to be used as infiltrators, moving among us and observing without raising an alarm. Their incredible range of motion is of particular interest to our own genetic research program.
The Tall One has, up until this point, been unofficially referred to as the Thin Man. Initial testing has revealed a concerted effort by the aliens to modify this specimen's genetic structure in such a way as to make it appear human. However, on closer inspection, they seem to have had some trouble concealing the eyes, which appear to be reptilian in nature.
Subject's external appearance is that of a Caucasian male. I would guess its age to be approximately 35 years old, although it's quite likely this is an artificial effect intentionally affixed by the aliens. The specimen is roughly 2 meters in height and weighs just over 80 kilograms. Despite its outward appearance, upon dissection, the creature's unique organ and bone structure is revealed to be distinctly alien in nature. The subject's bones are segmented, rather like the vertebrae of a serpent. The segmented structure appears to give the creature a spectacular range of motion in combat. It is possible, through our own genetic modification program, that we may be able to replicate the unique connective tissues that would allow for this remarkable flexibility. Reminds me of somebody, never mind. If successful, our soldiers would see drastic improvements in their own physical mobility and resilience. A large portion of the specimen's thoracic cavity is devoted to enormous glands capable of producing a toxin that is expelled via ducts with considerable force. After a thorough chemical analysis of the subject's venom, we've theorized that it could be used as a powerful disinfectant to treat our soldiers' injuries in the field. Dr. Shen is working to develop means to integrate the substance into our existing medkits for further deployment. Targeting another example of the specimen in the field using unit analysis view may reveal further details about its distinctive combat abilities. So we've got a gas grenade available, and muscular fiber density is available in the gene lab, which we don't have yet. Our advanced research in alien physiology has allowed us to synthesize a modified version of the poison projected by the Thin Man and containerize it in grenade form. So these would actually be pretty good against the mutons. Muscle fiber density confers superhuman leg strength, enabling a soldier to reach high positions without the need for ladders or other climbing aids. Chrysalid we'll do Mutob first. Weighing in at over 275 kilograms, the majority of which is simply muscle and bone, this creature appears well suited for the rigors of frontline combat. The specimen's natural ability to manage adrenaline levels could prove useful if we can study it further.
This is the most physically aggressive specimen we've discovered so far, which the troops fondly refer to as the Muton. I can only assume there's a colorful backstory for such a designation.
Standing well over 2 meters tall, the ratio of the subject's lean muscle to the rest of its body mass is staggering. Its bones are highly durable, yet very light in weight, and it seems to lack extramuscular fatty tissue of any kind. There is no part of this subject that has not been genetically engineered for combat. These mutons, a moniker given by the troops, have clearly been bred and modified by birth, with every such enhancement contributing to its function as a sort of organic tank. As such, the mutons are capable of withstanding otherworldly amounts of damage and seem to have an incredible tolerance for pain. During the autopsy, we have noted a variety of ritualistic markings and unusual tattoos, which imply some sort of past tribal structure among the muton species. It may be that this tribal nature has led to the mutons' use of a war cry in battle, which seems to cause a surge of adrenaline within both the subject and even nearby allies. With this in mind, it is certainly possible that we could replicate this ability through our own genetic modification program. We've also noticed a number of distinct similarities between the genetic structure of the muton and floater specimens. Although I can only guess as to the aliens' intentions, it certainly appears that the floaters may have at one time been mutons themselves. If aliens have been experimenting with muton physiology, perhaps the floaters are a byproduct of their less successful attempts at genetic manipulation. We may be able to gain further insight into this creature's combat capabilities by targeting another example in the field and the unit analysis view. And if we have a gene lab, adrenal neurosympathy is what we would get. Isaacson, do the implants of the aliens have any effect on actual gameplay, or is that more of a lore-based thing? So these autopsies are beneficial to your... Yes, exactly, Isaacson. So there's some information that you gain in the game which will hopefully be apparent when I go to the tactical mission next. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of research which we had skipped over before, and I know people like it when I'm reading, so I'm kind of banking on the fact that regulars are watching. Anybody who likes playing XCOM is probably already bored out of their mind, but... So there's a few advantages that you get. If you think about it, right, so there were those advantages to the interceptors, and what that does is that gives a little more life out of our aging fleet. There's more advanced gains in the form of the genetics lab and the mech troops. And then, of course, you get the option to build certain items as well. And it's worth remembering, of course, that the Thin Man toxin does affect the mutons. So that's a great example of a particular ability that you can use. So think of it this way. Let's say there's a big stack of mutons that I find. If I can throw one gas grenade at them and then run away, most of the damage will already be taken care of before they can fire a shot at me. And then, of course, I can go in and either stun them or just clean them up with pistols or something like that. I never do it that way, but it's a potential strategy, especially if you don't care about getting mauled. Chrysalid autopsy, nightmare fuel. A cursory examination of this creature reveals that it is similar in form to several insect species found on Earth. The multi-layered structure of the specimen's exoskeleton appears to harbor some form of sensory input, possibly an electroreceptor of some kind.
Based on what we've seen in the field so far, including several grotesque examples of trauma resulting from the emergence of its young, we've taken to calling this specimen a chrysalid.
Even after years of research and study, until now I had never encountered something that is quite as beautiful yet equally as deadly as this species. Unlike the other aliens we've encountered thus far, it's arthropodal in its nature, plated in a sleek black exoskeleton. The chrysalids, as we're calling them, based on their reproductive habits, measure over 3 meters long from nose to tail, and stand almost 2 meters high when perched on their hind legs. Their attack is not only extremely deadly, but also necessary for their reproduction, as the intended victim is not immediately killed, but instead turned into what can only be described as a mindless shell akin to a zombie, which serves as a host to its offspring. When a human is bitten, an embryo is injected into the host, which immediately begins to gestate. Once gestation is complete, which remarkably lasts only minutes, a newborn chrysalid will emerge, destroying its host in the process. We can only theorize as to why aliens would utilize what appears to be a savage, unpredictable creature. In any case, this is certainly not a creature to be trifled with, and our troops will do well to exercise extreme caution when engaging this species. Targeting another example in the field through the unit analysis view may provide additional information as to its combat capabilities. One final note, which may be of particular interest in regards to our own genetic enhancement work. We finally managed to isolate the chrysalid exoskeleton's sensory capabilities, and they were in fact electroreceptors, as I had initially suspected. It is my hope that we can use this discovery to enhance our soldiers' own abilities in regard to sensing and detecting enemy movement in the field. So chitin plating is available for manufacture, needle grenade is available for manufacture, and if we had a gene lab, we could do bioelectric skin. So chitin plating, light plating made from the chrysalid exoskeleton. This material provides additional protection and a significant reduction to melee damage sustained. It's also sturdy enough to provide a strangulation countermeasure. I think this is an item that I need to equip. Needle grenade, a variant on the frag grenade. This weapon does equivalent damage over a much larger area, but the projectiles cannot penetrate cover. Thus, units in cover relative to the center of the blast area will be unaffected. This is a really neat little trade-off. I still like keeping the frag grenade because it allows me to level the cover. So the idea here is you can use a grenade to blow open a wall, or you can use it to knock out something's cover, and then you'll be able to shoot them with like a sniper or something like that. But again, if you didn't care about cover and you cared more about raw damage and you just simply wanted to use a grenade to kind of go over cover, this is the superior option because of the damage that it does. Bioelectric skin. The soldier projects an electric field from his or her skin, revealing but not alerting nearby enemies, and is immune to strangulation. Cyberdisc autopsy. On the surface, this robot appears to be purely robotic in nature, but we still... Really? This object appears to be purely robotic in nature, but we still suspect there may be an organic component lurking within. It appears to have a large number of redundant systems that give it extraordinary survivability in combat.
We've yet to recover one of these in functional condition from the field. The men seem to enjoy using them for target practice. At the present time, we know that the cyber disc, as they've been calling it, is heavily armed, but it shows no clear pattern of behavior on the battlefield.
Other than killing my guys. So far, we've been unable to ascertain whether this is strictly a mechanical creation or a living organism. Based on our findings, it has an alternative biochemical system based on the silicon atom. Like carbon, silicon can create molecules that are sufficiently large to carry biological information, and since silicon has several chemical properties similar to carbon, it is possible that this could be a new and completely alien life form with respect to the specimens that we've already encountered. Its internal mechanisms seem to operate like organs, giving it the ability to circulate plasma through its core systems, much in the same way that blood flows through our bodies. These mechanisms enable the construct to distribute vital functions throughout its body. After further study, it may be possible to use these designs in our genetic modification program to reduce our soldiers' dependence on vital organs such as the heart. Our unit analysis view available in the field should provide additional specifics regarding the species' various combat abilities. So we gain UFO tracking boost and secondary heart in the Gene Lab. Activate this module during interception to provide an immediate temporary boost to our unit's pursuit speed. The module will burn out after one use. Its technology lets us focus our satellite's computation resources on UFO pursuit and might buy precious time to chase down even the fastest UFOs. So I believe this is now all of the dimensions of the flight combat. So we started off with improving our ability to do assault, so increasing our aim. We increased our survivability through the dodge matrix, and this one finally affects the duration of the flight. So what I might do is I might build like one of each, just so I have it. Secondary heart causes soldiers to bleed out instead of dying the first time they go to 0 health in a mission. The bleed out timer is extended by 2 turns and prevents loss of will from critical wounds. Drone autopsy. The small robot appears to fill some sort of support role. We might be able to interface with its circuitry and possibly subvert it in the field.
This unit appears to be a drone, which is similar to the military drones we are familiar with. This particular example seems to have the ability to repair damaged equipment. Dr. Shen and I believe it should be possible to capture and repurpose these for our own use in the field.
The drones we've disassembled seem to have a singular purpose, to repair the alien technology, including its robotic counterparts. Although they act as robotic medics and lack any kind of offensive weaponry, we did discover a large explosive charge is located deep within the substructure as it draws on as a power source. With this and several of the alien devices, I continue to be amazed by what the creators had been able to accomplish. Dr. Shen believes that it may be possible to hack these drones, allowing us to utilize them for our own purposes. Further details as to the specimen's complete combat capabilities may be available in the field if targeted in the unit analysis view. Mechatoid autopsy, only 2 more. The robotic cybersuit is designed for a sectoid pilot. It appears that the suit's cybernetics interface somehow with the sectoid's innate mental powers. We should consider this if we decide to apply this type of technology to our own soldiers.
We were only able to recover the suit's central core, although the pilot's corpse also survived intact. The armor itself is quite interesting. The design is highly responsive while still providing extraordinary strength.
As it appears that the sectoid creature within this mechanized armor is of the same biological makeup that we had seen previously, most of our efforts were spent disassembling and analyzing their inner workings of the armor itself, in close collaboration with Dr. Shen's team, of course. As our soldiers quickly discovered in the field, this suit is equipped with two substantially larger and more powerful plasma weapons when compared with the standard sectoid equipment. The armor itself provides a great deal of protection to the operator, while also maintaining an impressive degree of mobility. The suit is capable of climbing over rough terrain and seems to have no trouble even with staircases and other obstacles, as it is also maneuverable enough to operate confidently in enclosed spaces. One of the more interesting discoveries we made while examining the subject is that the suit's armor plating appears to interfere to some degree with the sectoid pilot's unique mental capabilities. I can assume that this was an unintended consequence of the additional armor plating, and the alien sacrificed what would appear to be an extremely powerful ability as a trade-off for an increase in sheer combat power. However, it should be noted that the aliens seem to have offset this potential disadvantage by implementing a new technology. A small module located within the armor's core appears to serve as some sort of amplifier for these telepathic abilities. When targeted by an allied unit, rather than linking the two, the amplifier seems to take this power and use it as some form of a shield around the suit. Our troops should be wary of this capability, as the suit is already quite formidable without the additional shielding in place. So as you can see, Rouge Light Girl, I think one of the main reasons why people stop reading this stuff is because they already know all of the abilities, but there is actually, there's quite a bit of information inside of this in terms of how to at least prepare yourself for encounters with them. Of course, by the time, I mean, like, here I've already experienced them and I sort of know what their abilities are, but the first time you see this stuff, like, obviously it's helpful to know. Alright, so this is one of the Invader's most intricately engineered battlefield devices. The combination of concealment systems, artificial intelligence, and articulation on the appendages makes for a technological treasure trove.
Despite its physical appearance, this machine doesn't seem to be made up of any organic components. Its surface has an unusual metallic composition that somehow interacts with the vapors it releases for concealment.
Although each of the autopsies we've conducted on the various alien species could be considered unusual, the latest specimen continues to push the boundaries of how we might define that characteristic. It's been referred to as a seeker by our soldiers in the field due to its propensity for tracking and engaging with single targets, and its actual means of attack is quite shocking. Once it has located a target, the seeker physically seizes the victim and remains attached until it is either removed by force or the target expires. As one might imagine, this is an extraordinarily disturbing situation for both the victim and anyone witnessing the attack. The challenge in stopping the Seeker comes from its inherent agility and nimbleness, making it extremely difficult to intercept before it manages to reach its intended target. We believe the micromotors employed in its design are responsible for this notable degree of mobility. The Seeker also has been observed deploying a type of defensive smokescreen, making it even more troublesome to engage during the limited window of opportunity when it is immobile. Yeah, I sort of understand why people skip it, but like I know a lot of people like me reading stuff, so first up, I don't think there's any reason for me to skip out on lore. And second of all, like I do consider it part of the experience of the game. Like people did bother to write this for a reason. I hate the idea of just passing over the effort, because I mean, again, this game is more than just like. One of the things about this game, right, is that it very effectively gets you attached to your troops. You feel bad when you lose one because it's a big investment in time and things like that. And it's weird that you would play a game where you get this attachment to your troops and yet you would be totally indifferent to... You'd be totally indifferent as to the motivations of the alien invaders. So clearly, I mean, obviously you can see streams, you can see how people do it. For my part, I don't mind when there's a little bit of a mental breathing space before the tactics. But I know it's a rarity on Twitch though, and I can't quite explain what it is about, you know, people's psychology that say, you know, the experience that people really want is for me to go against the RNG all the time, the whole reading thing. Well, that's, you know, that's for nerds. So I'm glad you enjoy it, Eyes of Sin. It is my hope that we can adapt these various concealment techniques into a form that allows our soldiers greater stealth capabilities in combat, which should reduce casualties. It may also be possible to use what we've learned to develop weapon systems and equipment that mirror some of these techniques. Our unit analysis view available in the field should provide additional specifics regarding the species' various combat capabilities. So, respirator implant, ghost grenade, and mimetic skin in the gene lab. We can fabricate a module that will automatically detect chemical and physical threats to the soldier's oxygen supply and deploy uncomfortable but potentially life-saving oxygen tube shunts in a matter of seconds. This module will fit all of XCOM's armor designs. Use the build buy option in engineering to manufacture this item. Ghost grenade. This grenade contains Elerium-infused particles that, when diffused onto our soldiers, causes them to become invisible. The particles will lose their Elerium charge after a brief time, and competing energy sources such as weapons fire will disrupt them. Finally, mimetic skin confers the ability to change skin pattern to match cover. When the soldier moves to high cover, enemies without special capabilities will not target the soldier. Does not work if any enemies have line of sight to the soldier's starting position. Leaving cover or firing will break this concealment. Yeah, well, Rouge Light Girl, I will, just to, you know, in defense of your ex, I am doing not a full save scum. What I try to do is, I originally was only saving at the beginning of the tactical missions, and I would reload if I lost the entire team. What I've started doing is I've started saving at sort of key milestones, just because, like, my view, like, when I play this privately and I don't want to go full Iron Man, I'll save at the beginning of the mission, and I will reload at the beginning of the mission, but I sort of have my first, like, 5 or 10 moves sort of planned out. And so what this has translated into, it's like, if I can get a victory and I've lost a couple people along the way, I will probably lock that in. But the catch is that I tend to be pretty binary in my results. Either I shoot the lights out and it's great, or I get devastated by the aliens and there's just nothing left for me. I don't have a lot of in-betweens, so I will admit there's more than a little save scumming going on this one. Okay, so we've got Meld Recombination, Experimental Warfare, Elerium Skeleton Suit, Fusion Lance, Guided Fusion Launcher, and EMP Cannon. I am tempted for Experimental Warfare. I think in this case I'm actually going to go for the fast stuff. I kind of need to make up a bit of a deficit, so...
Picked up multiple requests for assistance. Abductions in progress are marked on the hologlobe.
So I'm a little reluctant to let 4 scientists and Japan go away, but well, actually, you know what? We've already got enough heavies, so I'm gonna let China go red. I'm just gonna take a second here and save up. In this case, I actually do want more scientists. I do need to fill out my roster, but I'm good for heavies. I need more assaults, so we will go to Sapporo. Both are very difficult, so not a lot we can do about that. Let's clear out the roster and see. I'm gonna try and bring a mix. I think I'll bring like one really good one and one. Actually, Boomer's already a colonel, so in this case, Nitro, because he needs some training. I'll probably bring like one really good and one like lesser heavy. Still one sniper. I only have one sniper. And then I think I'll bring like a top tier. Actually, I don't think I have top tier supports. All right. Please let me... There we go. And just the same usual loadout that I do, so as much, you know, as many lasers as I can, best armor I can get. Haven't really made any decisions for these, you know, these other objects that I can build. I'll admit I don't know them that well, so like it could turn out that actually the the needle grenade is just what the doctor ordered, but I've never had an experience where I've said, you know, I really want to try out the needle grenade right now, so I haven't taken the chance, unfortunately. So this will be the character I give my medkit to, and Axel will be the one who gets the scope. So the idea here is that my supports are they're sort of they augment my combat ability. This will probably be the last one for tonight. I know that's a relatively short cast, but it's about 2:30 in the morning for me, so, and those Snapchats aren't going to send themselves.
Prepare for deployment, Strike One.
You'll be heading into Japan for the next mission. The alien abductions are becoming more brazen every day. We've got reports coming in of attacks in broad daylight. We're the only ones who can respond to this threat, so we should get down there.
Alien abduction progress. Meld energy signature readings are positive. Site is clear of civilians. Collateral damage is not a concern. Neutralize all hostile targets and locate and secure the meld canisters. Incidentally, one funny thing, this has been true of XCOM pretty much throughout, is they kind of create this, like...
Central, Big Sky in position on approach of the abduction site.
This is like the opening mission. Not exactly... Oh,
One is cleared to engage hostile targets.
this one's a...
Backs out there, people.
This one's a bit of a pig to deal with, actually. But yeah, apparently in the XCOM universe, XCOM at no point is able to get a at no point are they able to get a
Alien object in sight.
okay, I can sort of take my time to get that, but I have a feeling I'm going to get greedy and rush it. Let's think a little bit about where I want to put my sniper. This is actually not a bad spot, but it might trigger a... Okay, I got lucky.
Moving to designated position.
I'm just asking to get burned by this. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to be able to notice...
Aye, Commander.
So I definitely hear the music saying that the combat's going, but now I'm really gonna risk my my guys now. The big thing for me is that the music, like the music's gone to the combat music, but they didn't run away, so yep, they see me. Jesus Christ. So I'm going to need to take this guy out. He's probably going to give a shield to his friend. We're in a pretty good spot to do that reply, though, so... So it's tempting to heal, but let's, first thing I'm going to do is just sort of sort out where I'm at with these other...
That's affirmative. Visual on the goods.
I thought that was my shotgunner, actually, but I kind of thought I was going to get a flanking bonus. It doesn't matter, though, so it's 100% to hit, so... The key here is to eliminate the shield before I do anything. Now, I should be getting some bonuses to my... I should be getting some bonuses to my my attacks on this from my heavies, just by virtue of the fact that they have the heat ammo. That's still only 68%, but at least I'll get a attack bonus. Yep, did the trick. If I get desperate, of course, I can always rely on a run and gun and a... Oh, that's a blunder. I'm not going to blow a headshot on it. So here I kind of feel like I do need to do the run and gun.
Sprint and spray.
This is just because I lose one of my guys if I don't do this, so... the question is, I think on its own, I should be able to take this thing out. That's a lot more damage than I wanted my guys to take. Alright, well, bad luck for me. Obviously, the guy down to 2 is getting healed first. I keep forgetting that most mechanical, and possibly all mechanical enemies explode when they die. So minor priority is to get that meld if I can. Squad sight should take care of my sniper, so we're okay there. I do have a bit of fragmentation in terms of my team, so my heavies are going to be a little further back than I'd like them to be. But I want to try and get some information of the next few areas. Yeah. That's going to be a bit of a pain to deal with. So the question is, do I run that guy back, or do I face my fate against the mutons? There might be an argument for some smoke as well, but... So 65 at range. That's interesting. Maybe it's because it's only behind half cover? Yeah. So see, the real drawback here is that I don't know whether or not I want to heal up my assault, which I think is a pretty smart move because they're going to be right in front of these guys. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it.
Easy now, soldier.
Not a lot of great options for me.
Aye, aye.
So I don't think the shotgun's going to do a whole lot here, so... and I think I'm too far away for a grenade to be effective, so... Let's take out the pea shooter and we'll anger them. Alright, and then we're back to this decision. So he is behind full cover. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to try and maximize our we're going to maximize our expected damage overall. I don't think we're going to be able to take one off the board reliably, so we're going to shoot the guy behind the car. And we miss anyway. So we'll see if this pays off in terms of... Oh, crap.
Still standing. I have a visual on the
Jesus Christ. Okay, so my assault is the obvious first move. Ouch. I think the smarter decision would have been to back off on that. I was definitely relying rather heavily on getting lucky on the shots. I don't think there's any advantage to getting any closer, so the question is, do I want to do a rocket or not? What are my options? So the fact of the matter is there's not a lot of really good rocket options at the front here. I can take out this guy's cover. I can probably ding the... well, it's better than nothing. Let's see what happens with this.
know what hit 'em.
So I was kind of hoping that that would kill their cover. We're going to save the sniper for something special. It did eliminate a lot of cover options for this guy, unfortunately. So... I can try and stare down this Muton and hope there's no consequence. Yeah, you know what? Let's go for it. 4 is not nearly enough. So I've got 3 people left to deal with this horrible mess that I've just created for myself. It's not great odds. Yeah, there's not really any good options here. I'm not worried because of lightning reflexes. I think the counterattack is going to be pretty devastating, though. I think we'll probably lose 2 soldiers off of that. This is, if this was Iron Man, this would basically be a collection of mistakes that that kind of end my game. So, the real question is, what headshot do I think gives me the most opportunity? I think the 58 on the sectoid is weak because it's the lowest damage dealer. The problem here is that I'm spending a headshot kind of hoping for a miracle crit, and all of these enemies, like chances, so it's first of all, it's slightly less than a coin toss, and I'm kind of hoping on top of that slightly less than a coin toss for a crit. But I don't know, we'll go for it. We'll see if this guy's a miracle worker. And he was. Fortune smiles. Yeah, so basically those things will wreck me as long as they are... as long as I'm behind half cover. I am a little surprised that they didn't go for a defensive move on the mechoid, or whatever you call it. But we will use that to our advantage. We'll start by putting a big target on it. Again, the ideal is that my heavies will unload with their. I keep forgetting how huge this blast radius is. I don't want to destroy the cover of my ally, so we're gonna do the good old rocket surgery. The heat ammo is ideal, but I don't want to have an idle. I don't want to have an idle round with that guy, so not reloading. Let's see the lay of the land before we make any decisions. So right now I can afford to hit him at 45. I think what I'm going to do here is something a little counterintuitive. I'm going to move behind this here. See, I'm going to get flanked by that sectoid, though. It's 100, it might take it down, so let's go for it. That wasn't enough. Yeah, I just created a whole bunch of problems for myself. Alright, let's see what... Okay, so... I can... reload, or I can do a pistol shot. It's not a great opportunity. I think this is worth taking. It's very unlikely that the Muton would be running by me to take advantage of that other shot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the sniper shot on the sectoid, because that's the biggest threat to my ally right now. Cool. So Muton may still cause me problems, but the most pressing kind of the most pressing threats have been dealt with. And we have a little bit of a positional advantage now. I don't think there's a lot I'm going to be able to do about the Muton. But we'll get ready for kind of a one-on-one kind of fight. I don't think I'm going to be able to use a pistol against it, so yeah. So sadly I have to reload. Likewise, Qilong. See, this is where I pay for all of my
I'm moving to that position.
this is where I pay for my my early unwillingness to reload. So it's a bit of a risk here, right? I am putting this guy in danger, but the thing's being flanked right now, so if it stands where it is, it's gonna die. I'm also behind heavy cover, so it's a bit of a gambit, but we'll see how it works. I'm gonna take a minute on damn it. So yeah, I don't have anybody really available to do anything. I'm gonna move closer just to put a little pressure on them. Again, this could potentially be a blunder if they find a good spot for cover and a flank on him. But I'm hoping to take it off the board. See, I can't do the double. But I still think I'm going to be able to take this thing out. Cool. All right. Well, that sucks that we lost the operative, but that was otherwise a fairly decent round. So it's kind of a quiet end to the stream, but I am at 10% of the cast was in dropped frames. I'm also feeling a little tired. So are you all okay with me packing it in? Got a major, extra conditioning, bonus health based on which type of armor is equipped. Heavier armor increases the bonus. All this level needed was some inner tubes. Let me just take a quick second and see who's online for a host. It's very kind of you to say, Isofson. Oh, this is kind of neat. So Ponce is streaming. He's playing a Devolver published game. I've never played this. Apparently it's really difficult. So this is Ruiner. I'm going to try the proper raid command this time. So what's going to happen here, I'm going to hit the raid. There's going to be a timer. I'd love it if you guys could come along. He's got about 11 people watching him right now. He normally deserves more. He's primarily a League of Legends streamer, but he's branching out. He's doing some good work on some other things. So I'll definitely recommend you guys to stick along. I will do a proper host anyway. I'm going to be hitting /raid, and at the top of chat, if you can just hit the join button, we can come along. And obviously we have our traditional raid message. We're tired of system talk. Heard this place was better. And you can let them know that that jerk System Chalk came along. So this time I will let the counter go down properly. Why isn't this working? Problem starting a raid. Please try again in a minute. RAIDPAWNCE. All right, looks like we are going to be putting the raid command off to another time. I'm just going to do a good old-fashioned host. Feel free to click that link, twitch.tv/Ponce. He's a great guy. Definitely recommend sort of hanging out, checking out his stuff for a little bit. Two other people I can recommend if you like more sort of action-packed comedy sort of stuff. W. Shand is doing streamer versus viewer on Dark Souls 3. And Kilgore Trout, a great friend of this cast's, is playing Dark Side of the Moon, which I've never really heard of before, but he is always a lot of fun to watch. So I guess we'll not be doing a proper raid tonight, but I do encourage you to drop that message in his channel and enjoy Ruiner, because I kind of want to see what this game is about. So anyways, guys, thank you very much. Have a good night, and we will see you Monday at the latest.